Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? I'm back. My ugly mug is once again in front of the camera. I'm not here to rant today, so you can relax. I know a lot of you are disappointed, but I'm coming at you guys with a final thoughts video on a great game, Shadow Hearts Covenant. It's a PS2 RPG, and I know like 18 of you are going to click out of the video right now. But that's not your thing, and that's fine. You do whatever you want. Okay, Shadow Hearts. Really underrated RPG series. There's the original Shadow Hearts. This is a must-play in my opinion if you have a PS2. I think it was close to a PS2 launch title. Then there's Covenant, which is the sequel, which is the one I just played. And this one, From the New World. Don't know too much about this. I'm gonna play this next, I think, but I don't hear like a lot of great things, especially when you compare it to the first two games, but definitely want to play these. And, okay, so Shadow Hearts. What's it about? Shadow Hearts, this is actually a direct sequel from the first game, pretty much. You play as this guy named Yuri, and Yuri's a badass, dude. Yuri is just the fucking one of the coolest RPG characters I've played in a long time, and that's saying a lot. I really like playing him, and experiencing the story, and you really care about the story of what's going on in Shadow Hearts. Pretty much a premise of what goes on. I'm not trying to, like, spoil things, because, like I said, it's a direct sequel. So, you know, if you play, I would much rather play the first one and then play the second one. Don't just jump into the second one. I mean, if you can find the first one, get it. If not, because I think the first one's a little bit pricey, like 20 or 30 bucks, just play the second one. I got it for less than 20 bucks. So, what is the premise? What is the story of Shadow Hearts? Well, it's actually set in, like, a realistic world similar to ours, where there's actual countries like Europe, Japan. It's set in, like, the World War, you know, the beginning of World War II, pretty much. So, like, you know, it's actually set in, like, a real place in time. You know, it's not a real event, of course, because it's a fucking, you transform into demons in this game, but it's, like, set in Europe and Japan, and you go all over the place, and there's actual, like, real locations that, and I thought that was cool, because it's not, like, in Final Fantasy 13, where, like, you had no idea what the fuck were any of these locations, or where the fuck you were, or what the fuck was going on. Like, I know where Europe is, I know where everything is, so, a little, you know, hats off to them about that. So, you play as this guy, Yuri, and something happened to him from the first game that was a tragic event that happened to him. I'm not going to say what it is, find out for yourself. And he ends up meeting up with, this girl named, Karen is her name. And they're trying to stop these guys from... Another event happens to Yuri, and he ends up losing all his powers. So he's going to try to defeat, you know, the guy that stole all his powers. And it ends up being a much more complicated story. That's the thing about RPGs, is you can't really give a good overview sometimes of an RPG story. Because there's, like, the initial story, then there's, like, the middle story, and then there's, like, the end story. And it, like, evolves into this huge, like, epic plot, and, you know, a lot of shit's going on, you know. There's like 4 or 5 different, like, you know, you think this guy's going to be the final enemy? No, it's this guy. No, it's this guy, like. So, you know, they kind of, not so much keep you guessing on your toes, but they, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, they keep you guessing, and that's cool. And so, you meet up with a whole bunch of cast of characters, and you end up just, I just raped through this game. It was just beast mode, team rival live, going hard. Don't even think I died once in this game. If I died, it was because, like, of, like, a status ailment, because there's, like, a bunch of status ailments that can inflict on you, and that'll be, like, an instant loss for you if you're fighting, like, a one-on-one battle. But, speaking of the battles, story's okay in Shadow Hearts. Like I said, it was a good story, but really, the absolute reason to play this game is the fucking battle system. The battle system is, I've never played anything like it, at all. So, imagine you have, like, this, like, ring, and it's just, like, a normal ring. And there's like a little, the way you attack is like, let's say with Yuri, there'll be like 3 little chunks, like little pie chunks on the ring, and it'll spin around the circle, like there's this little, you know, indicator, kind of like a ticking thing, and it'll sweep around, and you have to stop the indicator in each, like, segment of the pie, and if you miss, you'll miss the attack, but if you hit it, and you can hit it at, like, you can either just hit it normally or get, like, a perfect, which is, like, a little chunk of the pie. And so that's how you use magic. You know, it'll be, like, depending on the power of the magic spell, you might have more chunks or less chunks. And everything is controlled by this. It's called the Judgment Ring, and everything is controlled by the Judgment Ring. If you're gonna do, a magic attack, like I said, even if you're gonna use items aren't a sure thing. So you really need to be on your A game with this. You can't be like multitasking, doing 8 things at once. When I ever played this game, my focus was always on what's going on the screen. And like I said, it's not that hard of a game, but like I had played Shadow Hearts 1, so I already knew like pretty much everything about, the Judgment Ring and everything you could do and all these little tricks. And so I pretty much just, put on my Hawaiian shirt and then got on my lifeboat and just kind of sailed down the lazy river like this, sipping a pina colada. But another thing they added into the battles that wasn't present in the first game is the ability to do combos. Combos are, you fight 4 people in a party, and you can kind of link based upon, you have like an affinity rating for each character, which is like if you keep characters together in a party and you use them a lot, they'll build an affinity towards each other, which allows for them, when you combo them up, if you combo like, let's say, Yuri and Karen, they have a high natural affinity because like things happen between them in the story, of course. And so if you combo them together, their physical attacks will be stronger as if you just, attacked each guy individually. And, you can combo up to 4 people together and use combo magic and this kind of stuff. And that adds a big, big element of strategy into the game. Because, really, if you're going to fight a boss, you better be using combos if you want to survive or do anything, and have it, not take you an hour and a half to fucking beat a boss. You've got to be using the combos. You've got to be thinking on your toes. And you also have to be thinking ahead with this game. Because another cool concept that they added in this game is, you have your HP, you have your MP, and then you have your SP. And your SP is like your sanity points. And pretty much how that plays out is like, let's say, for example, you have Karen, and she has, 10 sanity points. And that allows you to have 10 turns before she goes berserk, and you lose control of her, and she could either really help you at that point, or, for example, once I had almost killed the boss, and she went berserk. She's not the only one who goes berserk, but I'm just using her as an example, because I was fighting this boss, and it was like down to like the littlest bit of health, and she used the full restore healing item on him, and he was back to full health, and I said fucking and just turned the game off, because I was pissed. So, you gotta maintain your sanity points. Wasn't that big of an issue for me. Occasionally, I would kind of screw up just because of, like, I would plan on using someone. So it's a game you need to kind of think ahead a few turns, which I really appreciate. That in an RPG is when I'm not just thinking about that turn, I'm thinking about that turn, and the turn ahead, and the turn ahead. That's the kind of RPGs that are up my alley. So, one thing I didn't actually like about this game was pretty much all but 4 characters or 5 characters are useless. I used Yuri, Karen. You get this the samurai guy. I used him, and there's a wrestler, and I used him. And then there was a dog, and I would switch him in and out. But pretty much those 4 were like the ultimate team towards the end of the game. And there's this old guy. He sucks. There's a little girl. She sucks. There's like a dancer. She sucks. And I think that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. And I was just, at that point, I was like, I like an RPG where you kind of want to use all the characters. You don't want to just stick with, your team. You'd like to be able to, like, cycle in and out. So, I mean, not to detract from the game, but some of the characters were just useless, and they sucked. And when you compare them to the characters that I could have used, I mean, you might as well throw the old guy and the little girl, just throw them in the fucking trash. So, in terms of some of the things that I really enjoyed about this game, I enjoyed the fact that the pacing was very nice in the game, in that there was only like 1 or 2 dungeons, maybe 3, where I wanted to bash my head through the wall. Most of the time I was able to, not so much relax, because it was never really a game where you could relax. Up until a point, of course. Like I said, I kind of cruised through most of the game. But if you weren't, trying to focus and trying to stay on your shit, you can and will get fucked up in this game. Because some of these random enemies are pretty fucking tough. They usually have a decent amount of HP, so you kind of, once you play the game more, you kind of figure out strategies and what works for you. And I think you kind of develop your own individual play style, which is really cool in an RPG. It's not just attack, defend, magic, item. There's like a whole bunch of other things. And speaking of which, there's fusions in this game, which was present in the first game as well, but it was really, they upped the bar on the fusions now. You know, Yuri can fuse, and the samurai guy, he can fuse. And the fusions that you can get, like, for Yuri, he has the most fusions. He has, like, at least 15 or 20 different fusions. Of course, they're not all individual different fusions. Usually they build off of, there's like a level 1, level 2, and a level 3 and for like 5 or 6 different elements. But the fusions were really cool because it allows you to, because Yuri doesn't use magic normally, so it allows you to use magic with Yuri, and kind of, he just became the ultimate, like, versatile character in an RPG, just can do anything. You need him to heal, he can heal. You need him to buff, he can buff. You need him to just rape the shit out of the guy, he can rape the shit out of the guy. So the fusions were really cool. Some of the designs for them I thought were very, very, like, badass, like, fucking... Shadow Hearts is a metal RPG. I'm talking about, like fucking black metal RPG. Like, you fight gods and shit in this game. It's a legit-ass RPG. I think it's really one of the most underrated RPGs out there right now. Like, in terms of PS2 RPGs, everyone usually thinks of that, like, Persona, Dragon Quest VIII, Final Fantasy X. What else is there? The Tales of the Abyss. I really like to think about the Shadow Hearts franchise. Dude, these games are just really just quality titles, I think. Even if you don't really enjoy the story that much, which at times I didn't. At times I didn't really care what was going on in the game. But, you know, when a battle system is engaging enough to keep you involved in the game, just based on that alone, I think that says a lot. A battle system really is one of the most important elements in an RPG for me. If it has a kick-ass battle system, such as the Tales series or the Star Ocean series, I'm more of an action RPG kind of guy. So if I'm involved in, like, you know, my button presses are, like, influencing the outcome, it's not just based on, like, a random probability, then that's really, like, a good drawing point into an RPG for me. So, what else is there to talk about? I guess that actually pretty much covers it. You know, graphics and music I don't think are, you know, huge things you can really talk about. Graphics, they just look like a PS2 game. Music just sounds like a PS2, you know, RPG. Nothing mind-blowing, but not, like, terrible either. Just, it is what it is, and you just kind of move on. So, definite buy, I think. Definitely, I would buy this while it's still out there. I still see it at GameStop every now and then. I think it's going to become an uncommon game in the future, maybe like 5 years in the future or so. People are going to be wanting this game, and they're going to be shit out of luck at that point, but not me. I got all three. And so, definitely buy it, I think. If it sounds like it appeals to you, then it probably will. If you're not really in RPGs, give it a shot. I mean, the first game was only, Shadow Hearts 1 was less than 30 hours. This game, it ended up lasting me about 45 hours, but that's because I did a lot of the side quests and was bullshitting around. And I usually, like I said this before, fight every single battle in an RPG, which I do. But it could last you about 40 hours, maybe even a little less. So I definitely think it's worth picking up. It's not a super hardcore RPG. It does not demand the life of you like Final Fantasy XIII demanded the life of me. So definitely pick it up, in my opinion. But moving on. My next videos, I know, like I said, I posted a bulletin. I'm getting ass raped with schoolwork and all that shit. So like, I'm not trying to, not that I've forgotten about the YouTube, but I just can't. You know, I have to focus on school right now, which sucks. But I mean, nothing I can do about it. I'd much rather pass school than make a YouTube video. But I got Pokemon Black, so that's probably going to be my next thoughts video, and maybe I'll do like another rant. I'd like to talk about anime. Haven't been watching a lot of anime as of recently, which just sucks. There's anime on YouTube, but like none of it really draws. Not anime on YouTube, anime on Netflix. I have Netflix, and none of it really draws my attention when I look at the cover. It's usually like looks really anime, like, and there's girls involved. Not that I'm a sexist, but It just doesn't look like my cup of tea. You know, when I look at a picture of Fist of the North Star, I see that and I'm like, oh shit, I want to watch that. But like, girls in skirts fighting, no, that's not.